Now that we're closed, can you see across the valley
to
this being reopened?
I can. I always could, because I never. Well, first of all, we're in such an odd position where the Republicans actually have some moral high ground on a government shutdown, which I've never seen in my life, and I've been here a while, and where Democrats are in a more awkward position than they generally are, to be fair. Because funding the government's not that hard generally for Democrats to do, but we have the Trump factor, you have the far left factor with Senator Schumer, which has complicated their situation a little bit, and people like Gene. When I say people like Gene, I mean really good, solid, pragmatic, transactional members of the United States Senate like Gene are talking like that. I've always known that this was a situation that if we got into a shutdown, it would be a short one.
Okay.
Because I think
a short one.
I think it would
Some
be
people think this could be a record because of the animosity in Washington.
There's a lot of animosity in Washington, but there are also a lot of Democrats that know that a clean CR is not an unreasonable thing. And there are people, talking across the aisle, one at a time in some cases, some of them leaders, some of them rank and file, all of us friends, that are looking for a way out of this and looking for a easy path out, with the promise that the negotiation over the big topics will continue with the government open. And it'll continue in more earnest and frankly, with more, I think, integrity with the government open than if we continue to have a shutdown.
Should there be a promise to Democrats, and maybe it's already been made, that you get an up or down vote on the extension of subsidies, as opposed to we'll sit down and talk to you about it? So does that finish this?
So it's a great point, because I think at the end of the day, you need something concrete other than just sort of a general promise, we'll talk to you. I don't think you can promise an outcome.
Of course.
But you could certainly promise a vote.
A vote.
And I would be supportive of that. But I'd rather see us negotiate a vote that would result in an outcome that would be, if not mutually advantageous, at least mutually agreeable.
Okay,
Something that maybe extends the credits that they're talking about with the reforms to ensure that you eliminate some of the fraud that has become part of that. I think that's the kind of thing that we can assure them of, but we need to provide, as you say, specific roadmap and a promise to operate it.
Well, I feel like you and I can both see what that deal kind of looks like here.
Well,
that
if you go get
so
Gene
far
back
away.
here, and
we can do this right now.
I don't think that'd be a problem, but I'm pretty sure Gene and I are not the problem.
Well, I feel like that's right, and I'm not trying to be too cute, because it does seem to be in reach, but there's a lack of trust.
There is,
right?
that.
You mentioned the Trump factor. How about 5 days from now, when people start waking up more than once with the government shutdown? Does that change the dynamic?
I think it does. I think it does. So interesting. I think timing does matter. So the fact that this happened in the middle of a week, I think matters. The fact that we are now, in an hour or two, or whenever sundown happens, we start a very important holy day for our Jewish colleagues, which presents a day off, so to speak. But by day off, I mean a day off from voting, but that means a day of discussion.
Right.
And because we're not, the floor is still open, we're all still here. That brings us back to Friday. My sense is that this is going to take the weekend.
Sure.
I think the weekend provides a little bit of buffer. There's been a lot of internal argument about, do we stay here this weekend and vote again on Saturday? And people are saying, why would we stay here this weekend and vote Saturday when it's not going to change the outcome? Let's use the weekend to decompress a little bit, hear from constituents, all of those things. I do believe that, as you say, in 5 days, we come back here on a Monday, and suddenly life might feel different. You're going to hear from constituents, you're going to hear from stakeholders, and people who think that a government shutdown doesn't affect them on day 1, day 2, and day 3 are going to find out by about day 5. Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Right, yes. Well, with that said, if Donald Trump makes good on threats to go for mass layoffs, to turn these furloughs into layoffs, does that make this more difficult? Would you ask the White House to hold off till Monday?
Well, first of all, I don't know if their strategy is... if it's a tactic to get a better outcome, or if it's but I do know this, that I wouldn't test it too much. I think that we're in a good place to negotiate a good outcome, and that anything that enters in sort of would have a tendency to distort that probably opportunity.
Understood.
And what I want is an off-ramp that Democrats can feel good enough about to get them to yes. And I don't think that would necessarily help.